You touched on that you were planning to do a little loop and then wind up in Cape Town.
Yeah.
Are you doing that with Tribers? You know, do you have any future plans that you're traveling with Tribers?
Yeah. So I kind of knew I was going to do that loop regardless. I didn't know how or like what the medium would be, if I'd be intense, if I would, try and go more affordable or lodging. And one of the Tribers had actually threw it out there to the entire group prior to chapter. I didn't know a single person on this chapter. So I think I was a little bit hesitant because I'm like, am I going to do this myself or am I going to like connect with people? My assumption was I would, and I did. And
really?
Yeah, just a few, a solid 25 people. So I'm doing the trip that was proposed by a triber prior to the trip, and we're all going to go for 6 nights, 7 days. I am so looking forward to it. And
what are you doing?
So I don't fully know the itinerary yet, but we're flying to Mon in Zambia, I believe. Or is that Zimbabwe? I don't know. We're flying to Mon, and then, or is that Botswana? I don't know. We're flying somewhere, and we're going to the Okavango.
That's Botswana.
Yeah. River Delta. We're gonna stay, I think, closer to the River Delta for 2 nights, and then I think we're gonna go more to like the central area in Kobe, I believe. And then we're just going to be doing, game drives and safaris. I think both wetland and dry land. And then we have these beautiful lodges that we're staying at, in the evenings. And then there's like inter safari flights, I think, happening. And then after these 6 nights and doing these safaris, we're going to go to Victoria Falls and do that for, I don't know how long everybody's staying. There's 2 people that are actually going there for 2 weeks. We're going to meet up with them from this chapter, which is amazing. So we've now, connecting with at least 6 people, that we all met, on chapter. And then after that, I already have a place with a couple of friends in Greenpoint and Cape Town. So I'm super pumped to see them. And then what's awesome is so many people from this chapter are going to be there. You're going to be there.
Celine will be there.
Yeah, Celine will be there. So it's going to be exciting to now have those people that I've connected with that I consider my friends and my community to hang out and explore and continue kind of creating memories with. So, and then after that, I got to go home to just deal with some stuff. And to be honest, it's my one place I sold, as I mentioned, so that I've got to finalize. And then I'm going to move the remaining stuff out of my home, my condo, and permanently rent that. And then I don't know where I'm going. And then I think for the summer, figure that out, explore, learn, go somewhere. I have no idea. I might stay in Canada for a couple of months, test out some new places. But then in September, I think...
It's looking like your year.
Yeah, I think so.
You said in the beginning when we started talking that one of the hesitations that you had briefly, aside from fuck it, I'm going to do it, was that would you like the people?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what are the kinds of people that you've met in the tribe, doing the chapters that you've done?
Yeah.
What do they do? What do they like?
Yeah. So honestly, you meet a lot of different people, and I think it's amazing because I think the diversity, going back to what we discussed earlier, that diversity, similar interests maybe, but diversity in perspectives, and similar interests by way of traveling. Everybody, I think, has a lot of different interests, as we've seen, some from gaming to, I've met people that love flags, you know, and
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage, right?
AI.
Like, AI, like,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, so you get everything, but, you know, diverse perspectives, and from different locations who have had different paths in getting to where they're at. The people that I think you connect with everyone in different ways, but I think in a group that's as large as ours, you kind of find the people that resonate. Maybe it's just during that time of your life. But I think for me, you know, like I met someone on my first chapter that I've since traveled with, you know, outside of Wi-Fi Tribe, because, you know, we really got along. Like, I consider him like one of my best friends, and I think he's like, you know, amazing. We match well. We have similar kind of perspectives on like what we want to achieve in life and how we explore things, how, you know, we have work-life balance, and we both like to do things like climb mountains and mountain bike and go to the gym and stay fit and be present and kind of expand, you know, kind of our mindsets and in day to day, and balance that with, you know, enjoying ourselves, right? So I've connected with a lot of those people, and like here, I think, you know, kind of similar. This has been like such an interesting, you know, group, and it's been fun to kind of draw a parallel to my last chapter or other times traveling, and like, what are those things that you connect on? And sometimes it's like, you know, just the time of your life, and like somebody's going through something, they connect. It's one moment that you connect on, and then you become close. Sometimes it's because you make coffee every morning and people come down, and then you have these crazy conversations in 30 minutes at breakfast, and that aligns you, and then moving forward, you have that, you know, kind of connection and relationship. Sometimes it's, you meet people that just blow you away. You know, they kind of show you something that you haven't seen before, and the connection is so like intrinsic and deep and otherworldly that you can't help but just continue, you know, experiencing that with that person. And you don't get that back home in like a regimented, structured life, you know. It's changed my life in the sense of like, I no longer view the kind of social constructs in the same way as I used to. I think I always challenged it, and that's what got me here. But I think a lot of people view this lifestyle as like wild and rebellious and crazy, and like
a frat party.
Yeah, like a frat party. Like if you know, like are living with 25 other people, and it's like, it pulls from those things, but in all the right ways. And it's also not that crazy, you know, like we are just living in different places for months at a time with a community. Like, there's, you know, not much else to it. And I think it's changed the way that I've viewed. I've always had this duality that, you know, is kind of a polarizing concept of like, do I want success or do I want experience? And I think, you know, I've gotten to the point where it's like, well, you know, a life worth living is one of meaning and purpose, and one where you're giving back and you have community. And I think the rest kind of follows. And now I no longer view like, you know, well, how could you meet someone when you're traveling? Or, you know, how could you sustain a relationship or a job? Like, all of that can be figured out, you know? And I think we get too locked into these social constructs of what we think we should do. And much of our life is not even our own identity or concept, it's someone else's. And I think when you join something like this and you experience what you experience, when you see a volcano go off, when you see a sand dune, when you see the stars, when you see a giraffe in the wild, like that shifts how you view everything. Because, you know, we're just specks in this universe, and we get one life to live and to experience, and that puts it in perspective. And then you see, you know, people in these different areas and how they view their lives, and they ask you questions about your life, and it challenges your narratives because they ask you in the same way that the curiosity of a kid asks you who doesn't get it, and you're left with like, well, why do I do that? You know, so it's completely changed, you know, how I kind of perceive that and how I want to pursue the rest of my life. And my sense of like attachment and belonging to the community that I think people don't even realize they miss so much when they don't have it, because they don't realize it's still accessible, you know? And I think when you experience it again, especially this late in life for me, it's like my friends are all having families and like kids and like very different priorities, and I don't have that. So, you know, when you're in your mid-20s, early 30s, often a lot of people still have those close relationships and communities. Mine is different now, and I was missing that. And I think what's hard to understand is that you can still have it through the means of something like this, and it's completely shifted how I view. I didn't think I'd ever be able to live with people again, you know? And like, here I am, you know, loving it.
You've been here for a month, you've met a whole bunch of really amazing people, we've had incredible adventures. Who would you say this is for? Like, what kind of person really thrives in a Wi-Fi Tribe kind of environment or on chapter?
I think at the core of it, we're all really excited to experience new things and get to find kind of a balance in a different way of life. But I mean, we have some people on the chapter who are super extroverted, always doing things, some people that do need to recharge batteries a little bit. So I think on that sense, a lot of people get intimidated of joining a group trip where it's like you have to be on 24/7. And I really haven't felt like that's been the case, at least here with this chapter on Wi-Fi Tribe, of you have to constantly say yes to everything. People, I mean, because it's my first chapter, I got a lot of advice in the first week, which was fabulous, of people saying like, if you don't want to do something, like it's okay to say no to things. We are here for a month together. You can pick and choose like the things you're really excited about doing, but everybody across the board, introverted, extroverted, regardless of the massively different jobs we all have, everyone's really excited to be exploring on a new country together and getting to find kind of a community of that new balance of our work just looks different.
Yeah.
So I'd say anybody that really wants to explore the world, but wants to do so with people that can truly become great friends who you probably wouldn't meet in your day-to-day life otherwise. I don't think any of us probably would have met. We're all from different countries, different cities, massively different industries, backgrounds.
Yeah.
But at the core of that, all of us are really excited to explore. We want to have that community of, we want our lives to look a little bit different. And that sounds really weird to a lot of people who do want more of that traditional, you know, 9 to 5, having a house and being in the same space and maybe taking a vacation once a year, which fantastic. But for us, most of us want our lives to look a little bit different. I mean, I think on this chapter, we've had 2 people who have started the process of giving up having a full-time residence, whether that be selling their house or looking to end their lease to really jump into this, because there's such a great community of people where you don't feel like you're on an island, which I think is the other part, that sometimes when you're doing the solo or when you don't have a community like Wi-Fi Tribe behind you,
it's quite isolating.
It's isolating. It's a little terrifying to take that leap without it. So I think we gave up at one point because we were like, we're just doing something very weird to a lot of people that don't know this exists.
I get that.
But that for me was like one of the first like huge community moments. And then like every coffee walk in the morning has been fabulous for me. Feeding my addiction, and I appreciate that.
Do you have any future plans with Tribers? Anywhere you're going? Any future chapters you're heading to?
Yeah, so I definitely think in the first chat we had where we all kind of introduced ourselves, I mentioned like, oh, I say yes to pretty much any and every plan, including ones that are fully half-baked and a very vague concept of a plan. So before even coming here and getting to meet Ollie and Sophia for the first time, I agreed to go to Botswana with them. So we leave tomorrow. And since being on chapter, we're going with 2 more people who were like, that sounds like an incredible plan. Also jumping on that. And then we're meeting up with 2 people right after in Botswana we're doing together. We're going to Zambia. None of that is booked yet, but that's in a week. We got to book that. But going straight into that and then going to Cape Town and doing another Cape Town chapter with now 2 more people that weren't supposed to be on that chapter, but wanted to kind of keep hanging out. And Cape Town's just such a central location here for people to get to other places and just have a quick break, where I think half our chapter at this point is mostly unplanned, but winding up in Cape Town. So we're going to be getting together once everybody relocates there in the next 2 weeks before people go off to their next corner of the world, which I think is really cool. And then we are starting to plan for a reunion at Tosha weekend, first week of September.
Oh,
it's happening.
I'll make a note.
Got to make the note, because then we're also tacking on gorilla trekking with Anna.
Really?
That is currently the plan. So that is a very half-baked plan at the moment still, but we are starting to get that together. She has agreed to help lend us her knowledge of where to go, what to do, how to do gorilla tracking right. I think it's going to be Uganda.
Wow. Okay, that's exciting. What's a belief that you had about life, about work, that you feel is shared among all the members of Wi-Fi Tribe?
I think it probably splits into 2 different ones for me. The first one being like, all of us very much had a concept, it seemed like initially, of work has to look very different than what we're doing now for it to be considered work. And it's been really nice to hear other people's perspective of being like, no, when you first start to do this, it kind of feels wrong to get to do this and still be super productive and get to do it all. And it's something that when you're doing it alone it just feels wrong, because you don't really hear about it. And it's a relatively newer concept of having what for most of us are really traditional jobs. But getting to do that here.
Yes.
And getting to do that, during the week, while doing what for most people is a once in a lifetime trip on weekends. And doing that as a group and getting to collaborate and work with each other, it feels crazy. And, you have people that are working for different nonprofits next to people who are leading the charge on AI, which makes me feel incredibly dumb because I still don't understand it after multiple skill shares.
Adi schooling us on like software development and like the deepest things on AI, and I'm just sitting there going like, are you even speaking English?
I understand every word and have no idea what he's talking about. And one of these days, I think he's going to say something and it's going to click for us. Maybe.
I hope so
too.
We'll be in Cape Town together, so we can keep pressing him until that day comes.
Yeah. We're going to get a Cape Town skill share on Addie's version of AI on how to do it, and maybe that'll be what does it for us. But that's been really nice. And I mean, I think the other part is everyone that's been here also wants to learn about the people living here and the community that exists here. And I think that's not necessarily something everyone thinks of when they travel. But everybody on this chapter was very conscious of wanting to meet people, interact and learn more about the community and the area we're in and just the history, because Namibia does have such an incredible and in a lot of places tumultuous history of just working with how things are today and what industries are they going into and how is their day-to-day life changing. And everybody on this chapter has been really incredible with wanting to have that and balancing that with, we got a group at Promised Land right now hanging out for the second time. A lot of us have been going to SPCA, just walking the dogs that are around here and meeting the cats and just meeting people in the community that are working to kind of better the community. We're right across from the school. So I think at this point, all of us have chatted with the kids that just come hang out in front of the hotel at some point to learn more about their day-to-day life. And I think that's something that, again, when you're traveling with other people isn't always something you're as cognizant of. And it seems everybody on this chapter has genuinely wanted to learn more about where we are because we are guests here. And I think that's a really incredible thing, again, with such a large group of people where that seemed like such a genuine interest for everybody. Everybody individually found the things they cared about and wanted to learn more about while being here, and that's not always the case. A lot of places you go and with a lot of people you travel with.
Even if I didn't have plans to travel, I would probably keep my subscription active just for the wealth of knowledge that you can get from the Slack community.
Yes.
You know, I've done everything from finding my therapist that will, you know, treat you when you're in different countries, to there's an AI learning club. Like, there's just the gamut of interests and things.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's quite unique in that way, and there really is like a bond with people, because you just kind of instantly trust them.
Yeah.
And everyone's so open to sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you need to know something, you just drop it in chit chat.
Yes.
Guys, I need to know whatever, and someone will know something about it and be able to help you, you know, on your way, which is really beautiful. I think we don't have a lot of spaces in this modern world that we live in where, you know, you can put your hand up and ask for help, or, you know, ask for information and get it from a source that you trust.
I agree. Yeah,
so
100%.
It's a really
You know,
beautiful
people have their
resource.
work networks or maybe their family networks, but it just does not have the coverage that we have in the tribe. So,
What's a belief that you have about life and work that you feel like we all share in Wi-Fi Tribe? That's maybe a common belief we hold.
I might get the saying wrong, but I think it's, you know, I work to live, I don't live to work. And I think I have that right, because it's like, one is a means to an end, right? It's not the entire thing.
Yeah.
And so for me personally, like, I love what I do. If I had $10 million tomorrow, I would still probably volunteer and do what I do. But at the end of the day, this is where I want to be. This is like what I want to be experiencing. And I think everyone else here feels the same way.
Wow, that was succinct.
Thank you.
I love the way you put it. I think it's interesting to have asked many people that question and to have sat here and heard the diversity of answers that emerged from such a simple question. Some people talk about like-mindedness. Some people talk about an underlying interest or curiosity about the local culture. Some people talk about a care or an empathy for another person and the bond that gets created between people because of that.
Wait, those are all good answers.
Yeah, they're all, and yours is a great answer too. I think you've summarized something that was maybe a missing piece of the puzzle based on the answers that other people came up with. So it's quite amazing, you know, like I feel like I'm doing a giant jigsaw puzzle of what moves different members for different reasons.
Yes, yeah. I love your job. I think it's very cool.
I do too, fortunately. So
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, it's a great privilege to be able to do it. What are the kinds of people that you meet in Wi-Fi Tribe on chapter?
Good question. So many ways to answer this. I just find people are so interesting. I think you find that people are really, really killing it in life.
Yeah.
Most people.
Yeah.
Like, very driven. I'm constantly impressed at people where they're like, oh yeah, I'm VP of this, or, and you're like, you're how old? Or, you know, like, you know, and I also want to say, like, you hear people, because you get to know people, and then you hear their work voice sometimes. So some people, you know, work for themselves. They are who they are. Sophia, my roommate. I love her corporate voice.
Yeah.
I told her that day one. She said, do I? And everyone turned around and said, you do.
Yep.
Girl, you do.
The minute she joins a call, it's like, turns on.
Turns it on, yeah. And I love it. You know, it would put me at ease too in a meeting.
Yeah.
But there's that. I just think, you know, the curiosity, and I think there's also a lot of people that are doing good in the world, whether that's through their company or, you know, their side hustle or just volunteerism. Like, I do find quite a lot of people that's a common thread.
Yes, yes.
And then I would say there are quite a few people that are techies.
Yep.
You know, because that affords you to work remotely. But then there are people who are not. Like, I was in tech for a long time, and now I work for a children's basketball, very much a in-person type of thing.
Yep.
And oh, wait, I have to tell you about this connection.
Yep.
So, as you know, I work for Empower Me Academy, children's basketball. So about a month, maybe a month and a half before I came here, our organization was introduced to another organization across the country in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania. And we had a meeting with their executive director. We learned all about them, and they're incredibly inspiring. They're who we want to be in like 5 years, right? We want to get our own facility. Right now, we go around saying, please, can we have some gym space? And so we're thinking about how can we raise money and how can we do that? Because it's a huge undertaking.
I can imagine.
And so it was so wonderful to be connected with this organization, and we talked to the executive director, and for him to just be so open and honest. And one thing that stayed with me from this kind of open interview we did with him was, I said, well, how did you do this? If you're all basketball people or maybe operations people, but how did you raise $46 million to open your own center?
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
When you're serving underprivileged folks, right? Like, who is doing that? And so, and his answer was, we hired really young, smart, and hungry people to work here, and they killed it.
Yeah.
And I just love that answer. Okay, so now fast forward. I'm here, like maybe it's the first week I'm here. We're doing calls, and I get off a call, and David starts talking to me, and he was like, "Oh, what do you do? What do you work for?" And so we start talking, and he says, I think that it sounds a lot like this other organization that I interned at when I was young, and David is from Philadelphia, right? And I was like, oh, cool. And he was like, what's the name of it? And I was like, honestly, I don't remember. It was like I couldn't think of it in the moment. And then I showed him our Instagram. And he was like, yeah, you're, exactly like them. And he showed me their Instagram. And I was like, that was the company. That was the organization.
Wow.
He's like, no way. Absolutely not. And he was like, who did you speak with? And then I looked up my email and I said the director's name. He was like, that is my mentor.
Wow.
So we're halfway around the world in Namibia. And just the connections are, I almost have to say, like, for me, like, it feels almost spiritual, right? Like it was meant to be, some sort of kinetic energy.
David would say the same thing.
He would, yes. And I love that about him.
Yeah, he's such a lovely person.
Yeah.
And such a big heart. So much love.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one who, kind of carried the torch. Last chapter, they had engaged with a local charity, Promised Land, about visiting, but then I think for whatever reason couldn't make it out there.
Yes.
So he picked up the torch, and we went, was that last week now? Wow.
They went again today.
They went again today, yeah. And I picked up some supplies for them on the way, and it was just so nice. Yeah, I love that he organized that, because that also was a highlight of my time here, I would say.